My name is Joyce Greenleaf, and I'm the Regional Inspector General for the Office of Evaluation and Inspections for the Department of Health and Human Services here in Boston. Well, the report that we wrote on the challenges of FDA's ability to oversee clinical trials aimed to do two things. First, it aimed to determine the extent to which pharmaceutical companies were using data from foreign clinical trials to support their marketing applications that they submit to the United States, for marketing in the United States to the FDA. And second, it aimed to determine the extent to which FDA inspected those trials. Now, we did this report as kind of a follow-on to earlier work we did in 2007 that examined more generally FDA's oversight of clinical trials. This report was not commissioned or requested by anyone in particular. In 2008, the year that we looked at, 80% of the applications for drugs and biologics to be marketed in the United States, their applications included data from foreign trials. And a lot of those trials were conducted in Western Europe and also Central and South America. Well, first, let me be clear that FDA regulations permit trial data from trials conducted outside the United States to be submitted in applications. So FDA does permit that. It's within their regulations. Our report does reference some pros and cons to foreign clinical trial data. And some of the pros would be for the pharmaceutical industry, they may be able to conduct the trials less expensively. They may have access to a larger pool of potential human subjects. Now, the cons, critics would say and raise questions about the extent of oversight that those trials would get in other countries and whether that oversight was adequate to ensure human subject protection and adequate to ensure that data are valid. Critics might also raise questions about the generalizability of the results from those foreign trials to the population in the United States. Sure. In the year that we looked at, 2008, less than 1% of foreign trials were inspected by the FDA. In that same time period, about 2% of trials conducted domestically were inspected by the FDA. And FDA's inspections generally cover human subject protections and data validity. So FDA has the authority to conduct these inspections, but there's no mandate on how many inspections they have to conduct. Well, we made 3 recommendations to the FDA. First, we recommended that FDA require pharmaceutical companies to submit their applications and their data in a standardized format. Second, we recommended that FDA monitor where trials are happening and in particular monitor trends when trials are being conducted outside of an IND affording more oversight from the FDA because those INDs would be on FDA's radar and they'd be reviewing the protocols. Finally, we recommended that FDA find ways to expand its oversight of foreign clinical trials. And that can happen in a couple of ways. FDA can continue to work with oversight bodies in other countries and share inspection results. FDA can also simply look to new models of oversight, new ways to do this. Well, the Office of Inspector General always tracks the response from the agencies to our recommendations. So we'll be tracking what FDA does in response to our recommendations. And the Office of Inspector General is, of course, an independent oversight agency for the whole department. So we're always monitoring what's happening and could do further work in this in the future.